Welcome back to the Yeditz Elohim podcast. We're here. This is episode 28. I'll start off this podcast with saying, how you doing, Isaac?
How you doing, my boy?
Good, man.
Good.
All right. I got a topic. We're going to start off with what working through, for, and with God looks like. All right. I'm going to just start off with a quick verse here. Colossians 3:23. Work willingly at whatever you do as though you were working for the Lord rather than for the people. And then my first question for you, Isaac, is what if some person is doing their job joyfully, as in they're doing it and they're happy because they're doing it for the Lord,
Sure.
but they don't actually enjoy their job. They don't see it as something that's meaningful, but they know it's meaningful because they're doing it for the Lord and they're providing for their family and they're making money.
Okay.
What do you say to that person doing their job but not enjoying it?
Doing the job that they know is beneficial and they know it's a good job, but they don't feel it. If the viewers watched the previous podcast, they would know that you can't live off feelings alone.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If you live off feelings alone, you're going to be disappointed. If you live off this temporary satisfaction, because that's what it is, it's a dopamine response. It's that dopamine response of feeling instant gratification from doing something that uplifts your spirit. Right?
Yep.
Going and giving to the homeless feels good in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yep.
But I guarantee you that if you did that for a full-time job, day in, and day out, over and over again, that dopamine, that excitement, that good hit feeling is going to go away eventually because you're just doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that people have to keep in mind, that you can't try to find gratification in a feeling. You got to just know that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And if God has placed you in a job, whether it's healthcare, whether it's plumbing, whether it's CDL driving, whatever it may be, if God's placed you in a career choice and you know that this is what you need to be doing and it's benefiting you and you're using it to further the kingdom of God, some days it's not always going to feel like it's really beneficial.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the devil's scheme, is to deceive you and to make you feel like it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes I'm at work. I'm at healthcare.
Yeah.
I'm in the hospital. And I honestly feel like sometimes I just don't like my job.
Yeah.
It's not that I dislike what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I love the job that I have. But some days, if you do not take captive of your thoughts, they will control you. And if you don't take control of those feelings, they will control you.
Yeah.
Because if I walk into work with a bad attitude, I can let that bad attitude navigate me through my whole day.
Yeah.
But if I walk in with a good attitude and I don't let nothing throw me off my track, that can also navigate me throughout my day.
What do you think like working for God looks like?
I think working for God looks like exactly what it sounds like. You're working for him. Think of God as a boss and you're an employer. And what you're doing is you're extending that business. You're growing it. You're growing an empire in a sense, right? You're working for God.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you're having a positive attitude. You're not letting the little things bother you. You're taking everything and you're working hard at it, and you're not half doing it. You're not putting in 50% of your efforts. You're putting in 120% of your efforts. Yeah. And you're actually putting in the work to get results. And working for God, right, is using the tools that he's given us, the Bible. It's knowing that we are supposed to treat others as we want to be treated, and we have to apply the principles of obeying God in certain aspects, in all aspects. Yeah. We can't let the world run our attitude, because that's not obeying God.
Yeah.
That's not obeying God. And if we want to work for God, we have to obey God, because God's love language is obedience. And in order to be a good employer or a good employee for God, you have to follow the rules.
You have to fight those feelings of anger or bad attitude, or you have to fight whether someone's being rude at work and you just gotta be nice to them. You're always fighting that every day. And I think that's what working through God looks like, is you pushing through those hard moments with the people that are being like angry at you or just not in your side. And then you woke up in the wrong side of the bed, but you gotta push through. And I agree with you that when you're working for God, it is an employer and a boss, and you have to push through, because you know that the boss at the end of the day is going to be right, because they own this company. God owns this kingdom. He's made this all.
Yeah.
He's made us.
Yep.
I'll say the verse one more time. Colossians 3:23. Work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for your people. When the Lord is wanting you to work, what are some of the tasks for you to lead all the people to his kingdom, and what powers does he wield us to be it for that to happen? So getting people getting them to follow Christ, or getting them to church, or getting them to just think a little bit more positive in a sense. What abilities does God give you to be able to do that? Knowing that it's hard, knowing that it's not easy, knowing that people are hard to get to. What do you think? Like, just
to get them to Christ. Repeat your question one more time.
I got you. What are some of the tasks to lead all to the kingdom, and what powers does he wield us for us to do that?
Yeah, I think the main thing is living like Christ. Self-explanatory, right? You know, you live your life day in and day out, and you're trying to be a spit image of God.
Uh-huh.
You're trying to walk like him, and you're trying to obey him, and people will see that. Yeah. You know, I think if I'm out doing wrong, but I'm trying to tell you to come to church with me, are you really going to come to church with me if you see me doing stupid? People are going to be more inclined to go after something because they see that a religion has a positive impact on someone.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to, I think people are going to be more inclined to follow someone who is showing positive attitudes, who's doing the right thing, who looks like they got their life together, rather than someone who does not look like they have their life together and is constantly in a negative mood. You know, I go back to a story that my father used to tell me, and it's two guys, right? And they're having two different attitudes on the weather outside.
Yeah.
The one guy says, man, I hate this weather. I don't know why God is constantly making it rain, and it's so cold, and it's so bitter, and I hate it. It's so disgusting, and I'm just ready for it to be over. And then the other guy says, the rain is a beautiful thing. How would we live without the rain? Imagine if we didn't have the rain. God is so good that he's given us rain. It's so amazing that we're able to experience different weathers, different temperatures, different climates. That's such an amazing thing. God is so amazing. Who would you rather hang out with?
The guy with the better viewpoint.
The guy with the better viewpoint.
Yeah.
Both of them are believing in God. They're not denying the presence of God. But I think the best way to captivate people to come and believe Christ with you is to be that person that you'd rather hang out with. If you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I would hang out with someone like me, that's not being cocky. Yeah. That's just being confident in your abilities that, yeah, I'm trying my absolute hardest here. I make mistakes, but I'm still doing the best that I possibly can. I think I would hang out with someone like that.
Yeah.
But if you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, I really wouldn't want to because I don't really like who I am, then you got to switch it up because chances are that's what other people are thinking. They're thinking the same thing about you.
Do you think that's working for the Lord as well? Do you bringing people onto Christ because of your viewpoint, or because of how you look at things, because how you carry yourself? Absolutely. Do you think that's working for God as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, that's working for the Lord.
Okay.
Everything that you do is taking account.
Yeah.
It's not like the only thing about working for God is the difference between working for God and working for like an actual job is that you don't clock in and clock out. It's all year round, all the time. You don't clock in and go home and now you can do what you do. Everything is accounted for.
Yeah.
God is not, he clocked out. Let me turn the other way and not pay attention to him. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
God is looking at you, looking at every move, watching to making sure that what you're doing is according to his Bible, and if it's not, he might correct you.
Yeah. What do you say to those people that, let's say, want to clock out, are ready to just be done? They're tired of carrying this good attitude. They're tired of trying to live like Christ and just tired of trying to help people. Like, what do you say to those people that are just ready to clock out? What word of encouragement, or what would have them just to stay clocked in? Because it's hard as a Christian. It's very hard to stay clocked in all year round. That you have to keep pushing through no matter what. And you might make mistakes throughout the whole journey, but you're still clocked in. To those people that just want to clock out, that are just done with the faith, what do you say to those people that are just tired of working for the Lord?
Would you have been okay if Jesus clocked out? Would you have been okay if Jesus decided to say, you know what? I'm not going to die on the cross. You know what? I'm not going to carry the cross. You know what? I'm not going to be prosecuted. I'm not going to be crucified. I'm clocking out. Would you want Jesus to do that? No. The simple answer is no. You wouldn't, right? Because that is the only reason why we have salvation. That's the only reason why we have the love of God and the grace, and we're able to be forgiven for our sins. Is because a man who was perfect, he didn't even make any mistakes. He didn't have any errors. He didn't have any flaws. A man that was perfect and had no reason to be prosecuted and to be crucified and to be tortured decided to not clock out. So why should we? Why should I decide when and how I lift up my attitude? Do you think you saw Jesus thinking, man, these people, they just upset me so much. I don't want to deal with them anymore. You know what, God? I'm taking off today. He surely did not do that. He didn't tell his Heavenly Father, I'm taking off today. Sorry, I'll be back tomorrow. That's not how it works.
It couldn't work that way.
And if we are supposed to follow Christ and look at him as an example, that's part of it, that no-quit mentality. Because Jesus had a no-quit mentality.
Exactly.
He kept his eyes focused on God, and that's all he did. He didn't quit. He didn't give up, and he continued to love those, even the people that hated him. He still loved them. He still showed them grace and love and peace. That's the number one thing. For those who feel like they want to clock out, be reminded that there's no excuse. A perfect man did not clock out, so why should you?
That's good. Why do you think people have this mentality that they're above it all? Or why do you think that they have this mentality like, okay, I can stop working for the Lord because I'm done. Like, I've tried everything. I've done everything I can to get my friends to church, or I've done everything at work to be positive and be uplifting. Why do you think people just want to be done? Do you think it's the ways of the world, the outside world, that make us want to be like, no, you don't need this anymore. You don't need uplifting. You don't need to be positive. You don't need to be living this Christ-like life. Do you think it's the outside world? Do you think it's the temptations outside world? Or
I think it's that, but I think the contributing factor, right, the main factor is not seeing the results all the time. You know, when we went on our Greece missions trip, they said the number one thing is to plant the seed, but don't stick around to water it, because that's not our job. We're to plant seeds and then let God water it, and then when the time is there, we can harvest. We're not supposed to try to make the plant grow. It's the same thing when you plant a plant. You plant the seed, God is going to take care of the rest. You can't actually make a plant grow. God is the one who's done that articulate design that makes things grow and things bear fruit. We're not able to do that. We're supposed to plant the seed, and God is then supposed to water it so that it can grow.
Do you believe that He's given us all that ability to plant seeds into people? Do you think every single human has that ability to be uplifting and to plant the seed in them so that God could let it grow, so that God could water it? Do you believe He's given us all that ability? Or do you believe it's just certain people that have put in the time, that hasn't clocked out? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, God said that we're made in His image. And if we're made in His image, I feel like everyone should have that opportunity to plant those seeds. Some people may feel like they can't, but that's just them not tapping into their fullest potential. That's not them realizing that God has given you talents to reach people, right? Let's say I have a really hard time speaking to someone face to face, but I can record a video and post it on YouTube. Let's say I have a really hard time singing. I have bad vocals, but I can play the guitar. God has given you different talents that you can use to plant seeds. It's not always going out into the street saying, hey, do you believe in Jesus? Let me pray for you. Although that's great, that's not the only thing. It can be anything. You can use any of those talents to plant seeds. It could be anything. I know many people, artists who have made songs that it's not really shoving gospel down your throat, but it's still a gospel song, and people, it's like Forrest Frank. You find Forrest Frank on the radio all the time. Why is that? Because he sounds like a poppy hip artist, but at the same time, he's planting seeds. But he's using his talent, musical talent. So I think God has given that ability to everyone, you know? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is only a select amount of people that I don't know, honestly. I don't know off the top of my head, and if I am wrong, I pray that the Lord corrects me, but I don't think that there's an excuse to say, sorry, I don't have that ability, you know?
And it's hard. I think working for and through God is the hardest thing you could do, because it's like you said, all year round. You can't really clock out, and there's no reason to clock out
Mhm.
until he takes us, until the rapture happens and he takes us. There's no reason to. But yeah, I know that's one big struggle in the world, where you have to just keep pushing through, whether it's in your job or you're on a mission or you're at church or you're just in your house. You're working for God the whole time, and sometimes you don't even realize it.
Yep.
So I agree. You got anything else to add on that, or you good?
Yeah. Going back to kind of what you were saying a little bit, it's like, what would you do if you had just so much anger built up inside you
Mhm.
and you feel like you can't really show Christ in your actions because you're just so upset? You're so consumed with the things around you. What would be your advice to someone that's struggling with feeling so overwhelmed, stressed out, angry, upset, sad, that they feel like they can't magnify Christ, that they can't spread the good news? What would be your advice?
Like you said, stop trying to fight the feeling. Stop trying to glorify God because it makes you feel good. You're not glorifying God because it makes you feel good. Glorify God because it's what He wants. It's what He put you on this earth to do. It's to glorify Him. It's to get people to Him. If you're struggling, talk to someone. Realize that it is not all about you. We're not in this alone to do this alone. I don't think we're working for God alone. I think we have groups of people that we work together. The more, as my mother says, more hands make the work light.
Mhm.
So if there's more hands reaching in and helping out to uplift someone, that's good. You don't have to do it by yourself. You don't have to be the only person going out and street evangelizing, or
Yeah.
you don't have to be the only person at work talking about God. There's other people. You just gotta get them out. You gotta get them to show how much they do love Christ.
Yeah.
Because you can't do it alone. I don't think you can. As a human, you can't. And even with God's help, you can't do it alone. That's why there's churches.
Yeah.
That's why God made churches. So yeah, I think a helping hand.
I mean, the best example in the Bible, it's Jesus and the what? 12 disciples.
Yeah, he couldn't
Not
do it
that
alone.
Jesus couldn't have done it by himself. I'm
Yeah.
sure he could have, right? He
Yeah.
didn't need them, but he had 12 disciples with him.
Mhm.
And that just shows that a group of people or a community can really make things happen, right?
Mhm.
It's what you said that your mom says.
Yeah.
More hands make the workload lighter, right?
Yeah.
It's like, don't try to think that you can do this all by yourself. You
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
You're struggling and you're torturing yourself in that sense.
Mhm.
You're not in this world alone. You're not supposed to be in this world alone. You have God, you have Jesus, and you have a community that you can implant yourself into and get connected.
Yeah.
Find those people, find those groups, find those communities, and realize that you're not alone.
Exactly.
You can find help, you can get help, and do this life with somebody.
I'll end this pod with a verse. We'll go to 2 Corinthians 6:7. We faithfully preach the truth. God's power is working in us. We use the weapons of righteousness in the right hand for attack and the left hand for defense. We're going to end out this podcast with that. I think it was pretty good. This is Yedet Elohim, and this is episode 28, and we're out of here. We'll see you next episode.
Adios.